I'm Indy Nidell, and this is Out of the Ether, the format on this channel where I have to do the least amount of work because a lot of experts in all kinds of different aspects of the war write really interesting things into us, and I am going to pass them along to you for your consideration. Now this is from Paul Hodos, is that it? Paul Hodos, okay? The morning of the 21st of July, 1918 began as a normal, hot and humid Sunday summer morning in the small Massachusetts beach town of Orleans. The people in Orleans were concerned with small matters like attendance at church, and the war seemed very far away. Despite the raging conflict across the ocean, locals and tourists alike were enjoying the beaches, the summer cottages, and the peace and quiet on the elbow of Cape Cod, away from the hubbub of cities like Boston. Shortly before 10:30 a.m., the 452-ton steel-hulled tugboat Perth Amboy and the tug's tow of 4 sailing barges of a few hundred tons each were traveling empty, except for one, which was hauling granite stones. Suddenly, an artillery shell struck a spot on the nearby beach below a bluff and exploded. Although likely unintentional, the attacking German U-Kreuzer U-156 had just shelled the mainland of the United States. The few shells launched from those German guns that landed on the beach were the only bombardment of the United States by a foreign power in the First World War. The U-156 then shelled the tug and the barges, sinking all but the tug, which was heavily damaged but still afloat. Coast Guard Station Number 40, located on Nauset Beach, was also full of activity during the assault. They sent their surf boat into the water to advance unarmed into the flying shells of the U-156 to rescue the survivors of the attack. They also telephoned the Chatham Naval Air Station a few miles away and alerted them to the ongoing action. In the meantime, the temporary officer in charge of the Chatham Naval Air Station scrambled to find a pilot he could send to investigate the sounds of warfare right off the American shore. Unfortunately for the officer, his commander and most of the other pilots were off flying in the station's planes looking for one of their patrol blimps which had gone missing 2 days earlier. Finally, an HS-1L flying boat piloted by Ensign Eric Lingard and Ensign Edward Shields, and with Chief Special Mechanic Edward Howard in the bomber seat, took off from the station and headed toward the action. They would participate in the first and only naval air action to occur in the American theater of World War I in the Western Atlantic. The SMU-117 would also be attacked by a seaplane later in the campaign. However, that U-boat did not get a chance to fire back. The HS-1L carried only one Mark IV bomb, which meant there was no room for error in this era of inaccurate bomb sights. If the bomb came near the submarine and exploded, there was no doubt the sub would be at least severely damaged, if not completely destroyed. By the time Lingard and his crew arrived over the scene, the U-156 had been bombarding the boats offshore for about half an hour. In that time, the beach had become crowded with hundreds, if not thousands of beachgoers who had come out of their summer cottages to witness the German Navy use a tug and a few barges as target practice just 2 to 3 miles from land. That must have been absolutely a staggering sight to see, you know. These same witnesses were also about to view the fight between the American airmen and the U-156. I don't know if there's a movie about this. There has to be a movie about this, right? Okay. According to Shields, the U-156's crew did not see the HS-1L until it was too late. After they sighted the plane, the deck was a commotion of running men. On the first run at 800 feet, the bomb's release failed to work and the bomb did not drop, okay? Lingard made a second pass at 400 feet over the sub, and once again, the bomb failed to hurtle towards the massive target. Frustrated, a third pass was made, and Howard jumped out of the plane onto the lower wing, held a strut to keep his balance, and released the bomb with his hand. The missile dropped and landed only a few feet from the submarine. Unfortunately for the Americans, the bomb failed to explode. According to the flying boat's crew, the U-156 then fired at least 3 rounds in the air at them from the deck guns, which could also double as pretty good anti-aircraft weapons if needed. Lingard continued to circle the U-boat, but climbed higher to get out of range of the enemy's fire. In the meantime, Captain Philip Eaton, commander of the Chatham Naval Air Station, had finally landed after a fruitless 5-hour search for the downed blimp. Once he heard about the submarine attack, only a few miles away. I'm loving this story so much. He immediately prepped his R-9 seaplane for an assault on the Marauder. He lifted off solo at 11:15 a.m. with one Mark IV bomb strapped to his plane about 45 minutes after the U-156 commenced the attack on the barges. Eaton claimed the U-156 fired at least 4 anti-aircraft rounds from the deck guns at him before he made his bomb run. Eaton's bomb release worked perfectly, and he made his attack from 500 feet. The recommended height to drop a Mark IV without blowing your own plane out of the sky was 1,000 feet. The bomb splashed about 100 feet from the U-boat and once again did not explode. Eaton did see the Germans running for the hatch as he made his run, and the U-156 started to get underway. The crew of the U-156 must have realized they were drawing too much attention. Yeah, they probably got hey, what are all these people doing out there on the beach? And that the next bomb might actually explode. The U-56 dove around 11:25 a.m. The Battle of Nauset Beach was over. The media had been aware of the attack at the exact same time it was happening, and in what must be one of the first live reports from the scene of a newsworthy event, Dr. Danforth Taylor of Orleans called the Boston Globe from his seaside home and gave a blow-by-blow account of the battle as it unfolded. The media all over the country picked up the story, and many papers ran with the raid on their front pages. The U-156 also sank the largest U.S. warship lost in the First World War just outside of New York Harbor with a mine, and was able to capture and arm a fishing trawler to turn her into a surface raider in Canadian waters in August 1918. Despite all of this, the Allied defenses in European waters were not sent to protect the North American coast, and the U-Kreuzer campaign failed along with the U-boat war as a whole. That's spectacular, wasn't it? I kind of want to take the teleprompter back and just sort of read it again from the top, because that was really fun. Oh, well, I'm sure you guys have a lot of comments, but thank you, Paul Hodos. He has a book, right?
About the U-Kreuzer campaign.
Okay, Paul Hodos has a book about the U-Kreuzer campaign. There'll be a link of some sort? There'll be a link of some sort. And if it's anything as exciting as this, I haven't got to read it yet, then everybody should get it. It should be a massive bestseller. So you guys check that out. Well, that is it for today's episode of Out of the Ether. If you'd like to see our criminally underwatch episode about anti-submarine defense, you can click right here for that. And click on it twice so we can get more views on it. It's just lowering the whole curve. Anyhow, I will see you next time. I love doing Out of the Ether. See you next time.